somewhere in there, the lust for learning gets lost. I know when I finished going to school for my doctorate, I did not complete it the first time. I had what was called an ABD, all but dissertation. I didn't pick up a book to read for 10 years. I was so burnt out on reading. I was 25 years old. No, 27. And I didn't read a book for 10 years. It never entered my mind that I could do that for pleasure, for fascination, for learning. Never entered my mind. I think that I have said to myself, I don't know that I had a creative thought my entire academic career. I was so focused on doing the best I could to learn the material that was being presented to me that I didn't even question whether I had something to bring to the table. Kind of sad. The good news is I began having creative ideas. I began thinking for myself. I began seeing my way and questioning it and doing some interesting things along the way. But the formal education, and again, I went as far as you go, pretty much in society, got a doctorate. Took an incredible amount of discipline and focus and intention. But the nature of the educational system didn't focus on helping me to think for myself. It was all about learning the material that had come on before me.
Hey, Doc.
So, yeah.
I'd like to chime in. Mr. J.
Go ahead.
Well, you have a very valid point there. I mean, one thing in particular is, the students are losing the lust for learning. And that's because I firmly believe in, and had in the past been an educator myself, because teachers are losing the passion for teaching. See, like, whenever I entered into high school, I was what you would consider, let's see if I can sugarcoat this, a fuck up. I had a great brain. I could make all A pluses with no effort. But I had lost my lust for learning, and it took one teacher that had a passion for teaching, that really cared about the students, to turn me around. One teacher.
Yeah, you were lucky. You were lucky.
And I was so lucky that whenever I became an educator, because that was my dream, that I have had students even in the past year that have come to me and said that I made a difference in their life because I cared. And I think that's the thing that it takes. Yes, it's a two-component process to where the students want to learn and where but the teachers also want to teach, and they've got to not lose their passion. And the system does bring the teachers down to a point where they're so beaten, they're so downtrodden, that it is just getting the material out there to get the kids to pass, and they've lost their passion for teaching.
And there's so much paperwork.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable, the amount of paperwork that I observe people in this school, the teachers having to complete. It's amazing that they get teaching time.
Exactly, because they're too busy doing paperwork. I mean, they've changed our system out. I mean, we're one of the, as far as the stats go, we're really one of the least educated countries in the world because of the way we put things in place. I mean, there's so many other countries out there that excel past us in their teaching skills because of the education of their students, that it's embarrassing.
Yeah, I read a book recently called The Smartest Kids in the World. I think it might still be on the bestseller list. And they have an international, I think there's like 125 or 150 different countries, and they have these measures of tests, which it measures creative thinking, and it measures mathematical understanding, not just how you do a formula. And the 3 countries in the world, you'd never guess who the 3 countries with the smartest kids were.
Well,
the first one, go ahead, you want to take a guess?
Well, definitely something in Asia, like China or Japan.
Good guess, South Korea.
Okay.
The second one, go ahead. Another part of the globe.
Germany?
Not quite. Go further north.
Switzerland or Norway?
Norway. Norway had the second. And the third, You would never guess.
Okay, then I'm going to pick something very obscure. Poland.
You got it, man.
Oh, really?
That was it. I was going to say the first gold medalist. I saw this gold medal guy do this skateboard. I think it was it was this high flying jump, the ski jump.
Yeah.
Guy from Poland won. Okay, so the three educational systems were really, really different, but what they had in common was the kids really wanted to learn.
Yeah.
That's what they had in common, and the educational systems were totally different. So how do you bring the passion back? Because if the passion is there, the creativity will be there, the thinking will be there, and the brain development will be there.
Well,
it's the key.
Yeah, well, one of the passions has got to start with the educators, with the teachers. I mean, like, I can't remember my actual teacher's name. I know what we called him. We called him Meatloaf. Because he looked just like the singer Meatloaf. I mean, he was the drama teacher and the literature teacher. He had long hair. He was kind of chubby. He looked just like Meatloaf, I swear to God.
Yeah.
But the man had a passion for teaching. I also had a professor in college that was just as crazy and had a passion for teaching and made it worthwhile to come to class.
That was it. That's the key. Right there. So now what do? You're a parent. You're a parent. If you don't have the wherewithal and the capacity to send your kid to a private school, then you go to a public school.
Right.
And now, when you realize that the public school is pretty much going to have, it's a victim of what we're talking about, you get to figure out how you want to help your kid learn at home and outside of school.
Exactly.
And I think one of the biggest things we can do as parents is to limit electronic stimulation.
I agree.
Because a lot of it can be the kids will just take care of themselves. They will play. What they need is to play.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then
like when
other people, I know other people, they have to schedule their kids. They schedule their kids every afternoon after school in some activity or another with the best of intentions. And the kid has no room to play. It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
So parents have a real challenge on their hands. You come home, you're tired from work, got to do what you got to do when you get home with the kids. And now you're challenged. You're challenged to provide the education. But what I'm saying is a simple mode of education is just you can't have too little electronic stimulation. If you can do that, then the kids will handle themselves. The problem is it's withdrawal from an addiction.
Yeah.
So if you have new ones, I suggest no electronic stimulation for as long as you possibly can. Certainly no television. Music is okay. Music is just fine.
Right. But television, video games, computer, Facebook, all those things.
All those things. You can't put it off too long, but your kid will get exposed to it eventually as they start to leave the house. So what you can do is you just provide them with books and some crayons and paper and a ball and a doll.
Yeah.
And they'll do fine. So again, if you have to get them through withdrawal, that's challenging. It's always challenging to withdraw from an addiction. It's not just a physiological addiction to a substance. Had a conversation with somebody the other day who was shaking. He had already been through detox for substance abuse, for cocaine and alcohol, and very involved with the 12-step program. And he was going through a separation with a girlfriend that had treated him in some really disrespectful ways several times in the past. He'd already gotten the message that, and I had told him, if you want to continue to be with her, you have to expect that she'll continue to be who she is and that you're going to go through this again. So I asked him, are you ready to give it up? Are you ready to give it up? And then he said, well, I really want to know she's okay. I said, no, that ain't giving it up, man. That's not giving it up. You got to give it up. Because if you don't give it up, you'll keep it on. And so, for him to give it up is to go through a detox. His heart will hurt because of the separation.
Yeah.
Anxiety could have powerful waves of emotion, anger, resentment, all that stuff. It's a process. Mm-hmm. But if you give it its due time of separation and you understand, we're back to emotional intelligence, you can separate. I told him, you should give it at least 90 days to heal. If you had a broken arm, you would, depending upon how old you are, you'd have to give it time to heal. Yeah. When you have a heart that's broken, it's like the tendrils that are connected. Like I like the image in Avatar, where when one of the people would connect to their ride, to their dragon ride, they would hook up by these tendrils that would connect. And it was the way they connected with nature, little filaments that would connect.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it's like in a love relationship. The filaments connect, especially if you sleep with each other at night, even if you're not having sex. There's a bonding that happens at a level of soul. And so now when the separation is gone, it's like those tendrils are cut. And I believe there's a wound, and an emotional wound. It takes time to heal.
Exactly.
And if you hang out with the person just to be friends and just to check in, I don't care if you're just beeping or something, you're still holding on to some of those tendrils, and it doesn't allow the healing to happen. You got to be willing to let it go. You got to be willing to let it die.
Right on. Well, hey, Doc, why don't we take them to a song?
Okay, go, and then I'll tell a story,
yeah,
and then
change time.
Change time.
All right. Tonight we got for you Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters by Elton John. A suggestion by Mrs. J. So here we go on Shrink Different with Doc Wolf on TFOK Radio.
Now I know Spanish Harlem are not just pretty words to say. I thought I knew, but now I know that rose trees never grow in New York City until you've seen this trash can dream come true. You stand at the edge while people run you through. And I thank the Lord there's people out there like you. I thank the Lord there's people out there like you. While Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters, sons of bankers, sons of lawyers, turn around and say good morning to the night. For unless they see the sky, but they can't, and that is why they know not if it's dark outside or light. This Broadway's got a lot of songs to sing. If I knew the tunes, I might join in. I go my way alone, I grow my own seed shall be sown in New York City. Subway's no way for a good man to go down. Rich man can ride, and the hobo, he can drown.